We have breaking news. We have a very horny police chief out there in Alabama who has just resigned in shame. Why, you might ask? Well, he was horny. Why else would he resign? Police Chief Jason Hare couldn't resist his horniness. And what did he do? Well, he found himself in a room with a dispatcher, an 18-year-old dispatcher at the police station, and he started doing horny nigga activities. Let's just go over the footage for a quick second. And what do we notice off the bat? Looking at the footage, what do we notice off the bat? Because this is the problem. This is what I'm always talking about. Only a certain type of guy is allowed to be excessively horny. Police Chief Jason Hare is not one of them. First thing that pops up when we see the footage, first thing we see is, look at the posture. Absolutely horrible posture. What exactly is a man with this sort of posture doing being excessively horny at the job site? Very interesting stuff. Remember, keep in mind the audacity of these people. Okay, a guy with that type of hunchback being excessively horny at the job site, you have to have extreme levels of audacity. But then something else happens during the footage that we see of this guy being excessively horny at the job site. What is it? He takes his hat off and it exposes what? Male pattern baldness. He's been stricken by the disease of baldness. When we go over to the Norwood Richter scale, what do we notice? What does his head look like on the Norwood scale? Norwood level 7. You know what that is? The last level. He has reached the last level of bald nigga syndrome. It's completely over at this point. All the hair follicles have been killed. They're all deceased. They're never coming back. Don't think about hair transplants. It's not going to work. No finasteride. Nothing's going to work. It is at level 7 Norwood. It's over. Keep in mind, these two things combined make you a subhuman. In the looks department, you are now a subhuman. But did that stop Jason Hare from being excessively horny at the job site? Absolutely not. It only made him even more horny. This guy needs to go to prison and rot in jail for what he's done. Simply for the audacity. And you would think, this is bad enough, but no, it gets even worse. Going over even more over the footage, what do we see when he's assaulting this poor, innocent 18-year-old? Well, look at, besides the hunchback and the skinny arms, go a little bit more down. What do you see? Skinny legs, little butt. Horny nigga with a little butt, unacceptable. Again, unacceptable. These are things that people don't even think about. Look at Alabama Chief of Police's butt. He has the no little butt guy. Hunchback, bald, horny little butt. As the Chief of Police, ladies and gentlemen, what did you think was going to happen? We're not even mentioning the gut. Look at the massive gut on this guy. How do you have skinny arms, little butt, and a massive gut? Look at his neck. Let's go to his neck now, which is positioned in his chest because of his hunchback. Very unfortunate posture. What do we see? Zero definition in his jawline. He has no jawline. And all of this stuff just makes me angry. Because this son of a bitch has been the Chief of Police for 4 months now. You're telling me for 4 months this guy was allowed to be the Chief of Police with all these red flags? I'm not a detective. I'm not a police officer. I'm not an FBI agent. I don't know anything about law enforcement. But all it took me was 3 seconds of glancing at this guy, seeing all these defects on him, and I can clearly say this guy's not capable of being the Chief of Police. Look at him. Look at the condition of this guy. And I don't care how many arrests he's done, how many criminals he's arrested, how many crimes he's solved. If you appoint this guy as the Chief of Police, very bad and very misfortunate horny things are going to happen. Horny things are going to happen. I could have seen it from a mile away. The question is, why is it the person who appointed this guy as the Chief of Police, how come they couldn't see it? Why come they couldn't see it? Why come they couldn't see the hunchback? Why come they couldn't see the pot belly? Why couldn't see the Norwood level 7 in the Richter scale? Why come? The fine black people of Alabama are asking one question. Why come? Why come? You hide this man. Now we got a national controversy. This thing went completely viral all over X yesterday. It was all over Twitter, all over YouTube. It's all over the place, all over the news. He walks into the room. First thing he does, exposes Norwood 7. Biggest mistake ever. And then he started making small talk with his girl. Her name was probably Katie or something. Hey, Katie, what's going on, Katie? Everything good? Remember, in the mind of this horny individual, he thinks this is all fine. He thinks that an 18-year-old would actually have sex with him. He thinks an 18-year-old will find him physically desirable. That's what he thinks in his mind. And one would ask, why would he think such a thing? I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. Look at a guy. Again, we have to go back to the defects. Because these defects is what's causing this sort of behavior. Which goes back to me saying, who hired this guy? These red flags, these things mean something. So let's go back to the biggest defect, the hunchback. When you have this sort of hunchback, there's not enough blood and oxygen going to the brain. The most important root chakras are from the bottom of your spine all the way to the top of your brain. And they go all along the brainstem. When you have a horny nigga hunchback, the root chakras are all disrupted. The root chakras are all out of sync. They're all out of whack. That's why this guy does things that nobody's asking for. Nobody's asking for this guy with a hunchback, nor with level 7. Nobody's asking for this guy to be horny. If you're fat, if you're old, if you're hunchback, if you have no neck, no jawline, and especially if you're all those things combined, you are no longer allowed to be horny in our society. You are no longer allowed to have intercourse in our society. The most ethical thing that we can do for people like this is to simply amputate their penis. Cut it off, bad genes are going to be passed on to his children, and bad things are going to happen. More bad things are going to happen in our society. People like this should be peeing out of a little hose that's been surgically placed where his wiener used to be. It's the only solution to this problem. Otherwise, we're going to have these crazy lunatics running rampant, running horny, doing horny nigga things all over our society. And then what happens to the children? What about the children? This girl, this is 18. This is practically a child, for crying out loud. We're talking about a child here. 18 years old, a child. And then we have the fat, disgusting chief of police. You know, we were thinking this guy's going to keep us safe. He's the police. Remember, he's the cop. The police will keep us safe. There's a lot of horny guys out there. They're fat, ugly, and poor, disgusting hunchback. There's a lot of, and they're all so horny. We're in danger. But we have the chief of police. Oh, wait. He's fat, ugly, and poor as well. Look at the hunchback. Look at the Norwood level 7. So if everybody out there is fat, ugly, and poor, disgusting hunchback, Norwood level 7, everybody out there is horny, excessively horny, committing horny crimes, and then the chief of police is also one of them, where do we go as a society for safety? We go to Officer Jason Hare, the fat guy with the hunchback, so we can have this scene here. Look at this footage. Leans over, Katie. Oh, Katie, what you doing there, Katie? Sniffing her hair. What's that? Herbal essence? You're using herbal essence again? Lavender herbal essence. This is what you get. This is exactly what you get. Fat, ugly, poor, disgusting, no chin, no jawline, humpback, small wiener, skinny arms, no butt, skinny legs. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag after red flag after red flag. And nobody saw this coming except for me. And then people wonder why this country's falling apart. Fat, ugly, and poor people are out there running rampant, having all sorts of success. People are just handing up success, more success. People are eating fast fixums. Look at Asmigol eating fast fixums. Roaches all over the place. What does he get? Success. Lot of views, lot of money, millions of dollars. Me, immaculate posture, head full of hair, no bald spouts, non-patchy beard is full as hell, muscular physique, abs year-round, can sprint, jump high. What do I get in return? Well, I get locked in a basement, I can't even see any sunshine. I get demonetized, I get deplatformed, everything gets taken away from me. Why? And again, this is why this country is falling apart. I don't care, by the way, I don't care. Let it all fall apart. I don't care, I don't give a shit. I want it to fall apart. I don't need anything. I'll be at the park, just smoking a blunt, drinking a gallon of water, doing pull-ups all day, doing sprints, jumping high, riding my bike as fast as possible. You're never going to see me being in credit card debt. You're never going to see me buying a Chevy Silverado, $800 a month of payments. You're never going to see me buying the latest iPhone. You're never going to see me falling for all these traps. I'll be at the park doing pull-ups, and when your fat wife passes by, she's going to see me, and I might just pipe her down. By the way, if I get to pipe her down, you're finished. Your fat wife passes by the park, sees me, no shirt, body glistening, doing pull-ups all day, muscular physique. Drinking water, chugging down the water, being excessively hydrated. And then I start talking to your fat wife. She starts telling me about her fitness concern. I just want to lose 30 pounds by the summer. I want to lose 30. And I'm like, yeah, I'll help. Next thing you know, we're having sex. Once I have sex with your fat wife, it is over for you. The Chevy Silverado comes home with me.